Lesson 21 is about styling captions. Going to show you how to, change color, how to change font size, how to, change the lines of the captions, all different stuff to try to give you the tool set to be able to do this however you want for your podcast. So let's get started with styling the captions. Welcome back. All right, we have created some subtitles in the previous videos. We're still working off of our story IG clips. And let's go ahead and take a look at this first video. And you'll see that the subtitles, kind of do bleed out into the next clip sometimes. Our job here is to just touch them up. Let's go ahead and watch this, see what we've created.
Power training is looking at force times velocity. And when we're talking about force, we're talking about maximal muscle recruitment or maximal energy production in the shortest amount of time. And velocity is adding the speed with a directional component.
Okay, so the subtitles are way too small, right? One cool thing that we can do when creating captions, unlike video content, is we can select everything. We can come up to the Essential Graphics tab here, and any changes that we now make to this Essential Graphics tab are going to change globally across all of the subtitles. All right. So again, let's just select all of them for this first clip. We're under the Edit tab in Essential Graphics. If you guys don't see that, again, come up to Window, make sure you're selected the Essential Graphics tab to show up, and you guys will see that. So first things first, we can change the font, right? I suggest finding a font or asking your client, what font they are using for their clips. We can go ahead and select, Anton, for example. That's what we use on the Iron Sights podcast for thumbnail titles. And we have some options here. We can go all caps, right? That usually works well. We can also change the zone. You could do small caps, you could do superscript, you could do italics, right? I'm not going to use italics. You could right set the text. You can also change the zone. So we could put the subtitles right in the middle. We could increase the size, right? For example, of the subtitles, which I think is a great idea. We want them to be as big as possible. So I'm going to change the font to Anton. I'm going to select all caps. I'm going to change the font size to 85. We put the zone in the middle, but we actually do want to bring that down, just a little bit. We want it not to kind of be disruptive with everything that's going on with the faces of our podcast. All right, so just bring it down until it's kind of a little out of the way. And of course, you can go back at any point and you can click on, your subject, and you can change the position, if you would like to give a little bit more space. All right, now, since we had everything selected, there is going to be changes to the font and size to all those subtitles. So let's watch.
Power training is looking at force time.
All right, it's lagging a little bit, and if that's happening for you, what I recommend is selecting with your I and O, or start point, end point, and then coming up to sequence and clicking render in to out. If you want to be able to watch your clip without any lag, you can render it. Select the start point, select the end point, hover over sequence on the top, and select render in to out. It will just go through and render the specific section that you've selected, and then you'll be able to watch it with playback without any kind of lag or interruption. So here we go.
Power training is looking at force times velocity. And when we're talking about force, we're talking about maximal muscle recruitment or maximal energy production in the shortest amount of time. And velocity is adding the speed with a directional component.
Okay, so that looks really good. The other thing that we can do, which is common, is we can go ahead and double click into the text here, and we can add a different color. So I love to add yellow. That has done really well for clips. So I can just go ahead and double click into my text, right? I can highlight a specific portion of my text, come to the appearance, click on fill, and then select like whatever color you really want to. I am going to select this yellow. I can go ahead and copy the hex code FEFFOO, and I can, use that color on other types of subtitles. So my thought process here is if people were to only read the yellow, they would be able to get the general information of this clip. All right, so it's almost like adding a different layer to the subtitles. So we have power training.
Is looking at.
And then force times velocity, right? Or maybe I just do force, and now I can just paste that same exact color into my fill section, and I can do the same thing for velocity. So you got here power training, force times velocity. We can do this for force. All right, so force, I'm going to leave the comma out. And then muscle recruitment, I will make yellow. Again, all this stuff is optional for you guys. Or energy production. All right, we could make the or there as well. Let's do it. All right. And then time. All right, so anyone could just get the gist if they just paid attention to, all right, velocity. All right, we're going to highlight speed, make that yellow. And is, all right, velocity is speed with directional component. All right, cool. So now we could render this again, render into out, and this should go a lot quicker, and we'll just be able to review this clip with some of this formatting. Now, the other thing you can do is, you can add emojis, right? That's become very popular. You could add little emojis. You could add sound effects. But, we cover a lot of that in the free content on YouTube as well as on the blog, on the website. And so I don't want to cover that here because the other thing is that is actually not necessarily going to contribute towards viral content. A lot of the most viral content is simple. Simple. Subtitles, clean. Clips, clean. Color, clean. Audio, clean. That's the most important stuff, along with, of course, the topics being mentioned and your ability to pull this stuff out of the large episode. So lots of different things. I invite you to get creative with it, but take a look here.
Power training is looking at force times velocity. And when we're talking about force, we're talking about maximal muscle recruitment or maximal energy production in the shortest amount of time. And velocity is adding the speed with a directional component.
All right, that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this for all the other text, and I'll show you a quick, easy way to do that. So here is after, what we've covered in this video. And if we look at the text here, we can see that it looks a lot different. We want to go ahead and change the font to Anton. We want to move it to the center and change the text to 85. All right, so that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to select all of this text here. All right, come up to the text, select Anton, boom. I'm going to change it to 85. Boom. I can change this to the middle. I'm going to put this in all caps, right? And then we can again look at the position was 469. All right, I forgot that. The X position. Because we just want to bring this text down a little bit. So the X position is going to be 469. You'll see that that brings the text down. And sometimes, you know, it's double lined, and then in this case it's triple lined. We can actually click on the text here. You'll see that there's the area box, and we can drag that out, and it will usually come back and drop to a second line. So that's something that you do need to do individually for each clip. Sometimes there's a little too much text on it, but we did say and tell, you know, our caption creator to create this double line, so it should be all double line, especially if we allow the box space to be a little bit larger. All right, so the only other thing that I would need to do is go into all these clips, you know, and take the triple lines, increase the box size on them, and then I could change the color of, you know, the text if I liked to highlight, you know, specific aspects of it, right? So this stuff's looking really good. I'm going to go through, finish all of this, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to show you a couple other tricks to make things stand out, and we will be adding color to all these videos as well before we work on the other content in the other sequences. If we can make this stuff look good, it's going to be very easy to copy it over to the other versions. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. I'll see you guys in the next video.